Hello and welcome to CHUB Cast episode 5. My name is Zach, the bassist of CHUB, and joined with me today is Kyle, the drummer of CHUB. Say hello.
Hello, friends. It's good to meet you. Yes.
Hell yeah. And Ben, the vocalist of CHUB.
I'm the vocalist.
And finally, Greg, the guitarist of CHUB.
I'm here too.
Hooray! We're all here, and together we make a band. Last week, I'll get good at intros one day. So last week it was mine and Greg's turn to choose albums to listen to. I chose Kissin Dynamite Megalovania, and Greg chose Gunship.
That's the
Lavania.
That's the Undertale one.
Yeah, my god, that bloody song has made me. God damn it, Megalomania. You know, it's funny. I was on the YouTube video yesterday or something and I saw Megalomania, and I was just like, is that meant to be Vania or Mania? Fuck. God damn it. I've written in my notes Megalovania. Anyway, Gunship.
Dark All Day.
Dark All Day.
Dark All Day.
I am professional podcast host.
I am professional.
We're all professionals here, boys.
Episode 5.
Which one do you want to start with?
Fucking smashing it.
What's some people's What? Come on. What?
I'm all good. I've got plenty to say
Kissin
about
Dynamite.
both. So fucking
Kissin Dynamite. Right, Kissin Dynamite. Do I have
Kissin Dynamite?
So Kissin Dynamite? I found these guys.
I know. I was kidding.
How dare you? I actually didn't hear what you said. Kissin Dynamite. I found these guys when I broke my leg. Now that is for another story, but I was in hospital for a month, so in order to save me from going bored, one of my mum's mates gave me a hard drive full of legal music. I found so many great bands on there, but one of them was Kissin Dynamite, and ever since then, I fucking loved them. They formed in 2006. They're kind of like a cross between glam, heavy metal, and power metal. And they are from Berladingen, Germany. Berladingen.
You just made that up.
I did not. It's on my notes. I went on the wiki.
You just.
And one thing that I noticed on the wiki, though, is their latest album, Ecstasy, which came out in 2018, hit number 7 in the German charts. So these guys are hot shit in Germany, apparently. So,
Okay.
but sadly, they've never actually come over here properly. They were supporting Powerwolf and and Amaranth on a tour. And me and Claire were going to go. We love Powerwolf, Amaranth, and Kissin Dynamite, and we didn't. For no reason. Literally no reason. We had money.
Oh man.
Fucking dumb. It just passed us by. Anyway, the album, Megalomania, is their 4th album. No, 3rd album. Shit. I am professional. And god damn it. No, it is their 4th album. It's definitely their 4th album. And I think they took it in a complete. I don't suppose you guys heard the first 3, but a lot less electronic elements in those albums. They completely experimented, and I think for the better, because personally I think it sounds amazing. Does anyone want to jump in with a couple of notes that they have? I'm gonna pick Kyle because he breathed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please don't get the belt again. No. I was just thinking that it's so funny how you were like, oh, I was stuck in hospital for a month. It was so boring. I mean, imagine being locked inside for a month. That'd be fucking shit, dude.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Yeah.
that. I'd be so bored, bro.
I tell you what, this lockdown would be worse if I had a broken leg, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the few things that would make it
True.
Yeah.
Giant piece of metal hunking out of it. Anyway, what was I gonna say? So I listened to this album the other day. Recently I discovered that I can climb out of my window onto the roof, which is pretty sus, but I've been doing it because I live on the seafront. So I was sitting on my
Nice.
drum
Sounds like a
stool on the
terrible idea.
roof, watching people frolicking on the beach, riffing this out. So
Sounds sick.
it was pretty chill. But okay, so first impressions with DNA, I was thinking it was super cheesy. Like his voice
Yeah.
is like Euro Rob Zombie in a way, and some. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
DNA.
those vibes.
Yeah.
DNA specifically was oddly industrial sounding in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I put the horn synth is so lame. I didn't like it at all.
Well, it's like.
Sounds like Morse code.
Oh, point bulletin. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, boys. I didn't like this album, and the main reason I didn't like it, and it actually ended up making me quite angry. I was sitting there like, "Fuck, dude!" I was so disappointed because it had all the makings of a great album. The riffs
Yeah.
were nice and catchy. It had some cool widdly lead guitar stuff in the background. Had like some interesting stuff going on. But the mix sucked dick, bro. The mix was fucking terrible, and I don't
Do you
understand.
think?
Like, oh, dude, it really annoyed me because there's a few songs on here like VIP in Hell.
Mm.
Like, the riffs are really good, and they've got this like cool little harmonized lead guitar bit in the background. But the
Yeah.
lead guitar's so quiet. It's so quiet. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why is this sounds like it'd be really cool, but I can barely hear it. And it's the same with like the
Over
drums.
what?
Are quite
What's drowning it out? Is it his singing?
I think the singing's way louder than everything else for one. And I thought the singing wasn't that great. Like I feel like his voice was okay, but it's kind of generic in my opinion. I feel like I'm
Ooh.
going in on this a bit hard,
Oh,
but
Mate, you gotta be honest.
yeah, be
Yeah,
honest.
like-
But I'm going to disagree. His voice is stunning. It's a bit,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
in my opinion, like he can,
Stunning
he can
and
hit
brave.
those absolute high notes. There's a song in the second album called Hysteria, where he just, he pelts it like Rob Halford. It's amazing. But yeah, we're not talking about
not
that
gonna-
album, so.
I thought I enjoyed his voice in a similar vein to the Glory Hammer singer. Like, it only took a minute for me to get over the cheesiness, and then I was ready to enjoy it on its own terms, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
You're like,
once
oh,
you know
this
what
is
to
a song.
expect.
You're like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
band that Zach is fucking recommended.
Yeah, this was like the most fucking Zach band I've ever heard in my life. I was really excited to see as well. I wrote in my note, like Steel Panther if they were serious, and then I found on their Wikipedia page that they have actually played with Steel Panther as well. So
Oh, yeah.
I think. Oh no, correct me if I'm wrong. They're probably not, but I think Panther was in one of their music videos or one of their vlogs because they have a YouTube channel, or they used to, where they used to vlog their tours. I think I think they supported Panther in Germany in Panther's early years. So
possibly, I didn't look that deep into them. But
no,
did.
as for the mix thing, like maybe I'm a fucking music noob, but I didn't notice that at all. Like,
yeah, it's one of those things where I only noticed it like 3 or 4 songs deep. Oh, bye Ben.
Oh.
see ya.
he'll be back.
I only noticed it like 3 or 4 songs deep, and once I did notice it, I couldn't unhear it, sort of thing. It's not normally the sort of thing I pick up on, like, but I was like, I think it's because I was sitting there and I was doing nothing but listening to it, you know.
Yeah.
And there's just like give VIP and Hell a listen, and Deadly and
I bet now
To be
you've ruined
fair,
the whole album. Like, I'll listen to it again and be like, "This is fucking garbage."
I'm sorry if I did, but
No, I'm
it's
trying to
like
think about it. I don't know. Maybe you look more for out of music with the instruments, don't you?
yeah, for sure, yeah, yeah.
So if this is the kind of band where the vocalist is the star of the show, it's the main course. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it could be intentional. Maybe
kinda
they
like-
wanted it to be. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
Yeah, I
to
feel
interrupt.
like he's one of those. It's like a very rip roaring, partying, like swaggery kind of band, you know, because they're kind of semi glammy, right?
yeah,
They're like
yeah,
sleepy sort of stuff. So I
Yeah,
can
very glammy in
understand
my
why they'd
opinion.
want to do that.
yeah. I mean, it's weird. Their first two albums were very priesty. Then they came out with like a glam album. Then now they got this, which is just yeah, it's very much like a cross between heavy metal, glam, and power, with like the electronic bits of the power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to pick up on what you said about the electronic bits because it really reminded me of because you introduced me to Reckless Love with that song "Hot,"
Hot,
where
yeah.
you said the guitar solo sounds like a dubstep song, and
Yeah.
that was
Oh yeah.
I was really reminded of them and their sort of I don't know what you'd call it other than like sort of digitizing like electrified sound
Yeah.
in several places on this album. They had a similar thing going on where it was like. Yeah, electric. I
Yeah,
don't know how to describe
definitely,
it.
definitely. Legion of the Legendary is just a dubstep riff. Doom, 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 doom,
Yeah.
doom, 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 doom. Like, hi Ben.
Ben,
Back.
what happened?
Hey, man.
Back. Hello. My internet for some reason decided to cack itself.
Just,
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
it's the CHUB Cast curse. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
It was bound to happen
it's
to
your
one of
turn
us
now.
eventually, so I was like, oh, it's my turn this week.
Dude, at this rate, our first ever gig, all the fucking audio is gonna just all the electric.
I think. Yeah, I
A
think
solar flare
technology
from the
just
sun
hates
is
us.
going to fucking fry all our amps, you know.
Kyle, I thought that pizza in the background was a melted Pikachu.
Oh yeah, it is. That's my it's my version of a Dali picture, you know. Just
Oh
a melted
dear.
That's beautiful, man.
Anyway, Ben, what did you think of the album?
I thought it was interesting because
Intriguing.
it basically was intriguing. Because it was kind of like I knew straight away. Because actually, like I looked at what when the album came out. I think it said something like 2014 or
Yeah.
2015
14.
around that time. I'm pretty sure I remember you playing this around the time I moved in to
Yeah.
Milton Roads.
It would have been when I was living
I
with
remember-
Paul, I think. Paul and Nat.
Yeah. And I specifically remember this album a lot being played. So
Yeah.
like every song pretty much I was like, I remember this one.
So it's kind of a nostalgic.
It was almost like a
So-
bit of a nostalgia trip for me, yeah, because it was
Oh,
almost
damn.
like teleporting back to Milton Road and living there in Southampton, which was quite nice. Musically, as far as the album goes, pretty good. I like Kissin Dynamite. I don't take them again. They're not. It's not one of those bands where I go into it taking it seriously, kind of like Steel Panther. I mean,
Yeah.
like literally, like I think the first few lines of like DNA is like I'm a bad boy and I'm stealing your toys or something.
Big balls. Balls to the wall.
And I was just like, oh, here we go.
Maybe next album I'll recommend one of my more serious tastes. I've done three silly bands in a row.
Like DNA has been like stuck in my head for like 3 days straight
Oh,
now,
yeah,
just because
same.
it's so catchy. And then the rest of the album's really good. Funnily enough, actually, my favorite songs from the album weren't really the sort of harder ones. Like I kind of remember like I wasn't a big fan of like VIP to Hell or what was another one? Let me get the album up. But I actually preferred a lot of their more ballady kind of songs,
Yeah.
which I don't know why, but like because like you said,
Firefly.
like yeah, like Firefly, yeah,
And
like the last two songs as well. Like the last song on the
yeah.
album, I think was quite ballady, quite slow, and like he's like you said, he's got a really good voice, and I feel like when they were kind of taking that route, I could really appreciate it like in a different kind of way rather than because it almost like split away from the cheese. It's like okay, having a bit of the crackers before the
Yeah.
cheese.
God damn it.
But
Every week we have a
I
cheese
really enjoyed
metaphor.
it for what it was.
Just picking off some bread just before you dip it into the camembert.
That's it. That's it.
I think Fireflies. I'm not usually one for slow songs, but that song is just, in my opinion, just epic. I just imagine
I
it
think
being like played in a field, and it's like night and a clear sky and a drone shot going around them with fireflies. They're like fireflies. Oh,
it was those were the ones that I really enjoyed because it kind of like just a lot more like I guess classic rock rather than like hair rock, I suppose,
yeah,
or like hair metal.
Yeah.
Which like I liked a lot more, but the cheesy aspects were still really fun. Yeah. I remember Fireflies running free, and I think like the final dance. I think were like my more favorite kind of ones for sure because they were like a lot more ballady, which I really liked, and obviously DNA because that's been just stuck in my head for the past 3 days. Like literally, like I'll get going to the toilet, I'm like DNA. DNA.
I'm kissing
So
DNA.
It's so annoying.
DNA. Earworms.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the
Yeah,
only
for
bit you
sure.
remember of the song, though. So you're just there, like, I'm going to go crazy. It's like I think we all had just ba, 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 ba in our head for like months.
Oh my god, I forgot that was even a thing.
Wait, what is that?
It's
What's
that
that
wiggle,
song?
wiggle, wiggle. So
Oh
Oh
no.
god,
I don't
yeah.
remember that.
all of us for months would just somebody would go ba, 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 ba,
It was
ba, and they'd be like,
it was Wiggle by
bitch.
Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I'm
don't
gonna
remember that
immediately consign that to the long-term memory again. Let's not bring that back.
Oh my
Goddamn.
god, I forgot that was even a thing. Anyway,
Still haunts my nightmares.
It wasn't. It never happened.
Yeah, I feel like for what it sets out to do, it does its job well. Like it's just a rip roaring, fun times, classic metally, sleazy song. I think they'd be really fun live.
Oh yeah. These
but
bands
I
always
think-
are.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of this though is flavored just by my like. This is a very subjective view of mine, but I don't really like it very much, to be honest. I don't really like sleaze and stuff. Like, there's a few glam bands that I like, but they're pretty like few and far between. Like,
Yeah.
I like Motley
I-
Crue, but I feel like Motley Crue are more metal than glam metal. You know, like they're
Motley Crue are more sleaze than glam, and sleaze is like the
Yeah.
heavier glam.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like
had a
yeah, no, I probably would have quite liked this if not for the mix. But then as soon as I noticed the mix, I was just getting more and more irritated throughout this album.
Yeah.
Like, oh man,
I'm gonna have to keep an ear out for that next time.
oh
Yeah.
don't though, because then I'll feel like I've ruined an album for you.
I'm sure you won't.
Well, they ruined it for themselves if that is the case. I agree with most of what's been said. I looked at it as kind of a junk food album. Like, I wasn't thinking too hard about it. I enjoyed the fast, heavy songs. I had kind of the opposite view to Ben. Like, I was a bit slightly bored throughout, like, Fireflies and was it the final dance was quite slow.
Yeah.
I was more into it when it was really high energy.
Yeah.
DNA fucking slapped. That was definitely the high point of the album right at the beginning, and then it was kind of downhill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it as like a simple pleasure, really. For me, I thought it was fun and just cheesy and enjoyable
Oh, you
for the most
can't
part.
throw
And I had
everything
one,
to the ceiling. Oh, sorry, Greg.
I had one note. Which song was it? In Legion of the Legendary, they
Yeah.
fucking sound like they're doing a Korn impression, and I thought it was really weird. I noticed it really strongly. It
Yeah.
really sounded like Korn.
I
Yeah,
think I put something about corn myself in one of my notes.
it was only in Legion of the Legendary that I noticed it, but good song though as well. I really like that song.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, overall, I didn't like love them, but I liked them. There we go.
But that's pretty decent considering how like out there they are. They're a very bizarre band.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
they're very much Marmite.
Yeah, I think I can testify to that.
Yeah.
Oh, another
Well,
note
I never understood the Marmite analogy.
Yeah,
Some
I'm pretty
people love
like
it, some people
I don't
hate
mind. I don't
Ah.
mind Marmite, so I'm like,
it.
Yeah, that's the same as me. I'm just like, it's all right. I
I
can
guess
take
we
it or
don't
leave
exist.
No, you don't.
We
I
just
love
suddenly
Marmite.
it. Eating like
I feel like Marmite's one of those things though, like, and it kind of works to this sort of allegory as well, where people who don't mind Marmite aren't going to really say anything about it, but there's plenty of people who think it's fucking disgusting, and there's plenty of people who think it's great, you know?
that's true.
There's
That's
people who
true.
are very vocal about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the sort, for me, if somebody says I love Marmite, I'm the guy like, the fuck's wrong with you? It's minging, like, sort of thing. So I'm very much
Extremist,
saying
Marmite
it's
extremist.
Marmite far
so
left and
gross.
right.
God damn it! Why is the
That's
Marmite
something I
debate
can
always
say on
got to be so polarized?
Yeah, I'm happy on the
in this
fence.
country anyway, bro.
God damn it! I'm gonna vote in the fucking Marmite party.
I had a couple of notes. What the fuck was that noise at the beginning of Deadly? Do you remember that? It was like.
Uh,
"Gwit. I was just like, what is this? What am I listening to?
I did not notice that.
Hang on, I'm
Really?
I don't know.
I maybe.
'cause
Well,
it literally
I don't
sounds.
remember it. Hang on.
It's
Wait,
Wait, is it
on.
right at the beginning of that?
Yeah, literally. It's like the first thing in the song. It's like, "Gwit."
Yeah. Wait.
What is that?
Sounds like a fucking video game like
Yeah, like,
sound effect.
like you punch a fat character
Wait.
and they're like,
Yeah. Fair enough.
so
1 out of
weird.
10. Terrible
Sound
album.
of somebody
Ruined.
dry heaving. Like, that's why it's deadly, you know. It's the sound of someone dying.
God.
It's like the
one of
giraffe
the.
from South Park movie.
Yeah. One other note I had. Have you guys ever listened to Alcatraz?
No.
No.
Is Yngwie Malm? I'm probably saying it wrong. Yngwie Malmsteen's band.
Yeah.
Back when he was actually like playing with other people, and that was the band that I was most reminded of while listening to this. Like very not similar in every way. It's more Alcatraz is sort of more old fashioned because they were like back in the day, but yeah, Zach, I think you would probably like Alcatraz, and the guitar work in this album was like good. Alcatraz have fucking amazing guitar, and
Yeah, throw it my
yeah,
way.
I'd recommend them anyway. But yeah, I got Alcatraz vibes from this as well.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, throw them my way after this. I see this is like the Black Sheep album, to be fair. I was like, do I throw them Money, Sex and Power, which is my favourite album, but it's very much just a bog standard metal album. Or do I throw them this with like a lot electronic parts? And in my opinion, this, like, I couldn't really name you, apart from Alcatraz, I guess, a band that really sounds like this album. Because
Oh well, they didn't do the kind of
oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
I've like deep dove into like most of the heavy metal, glam and power genres, and there's not many bands that sound like this, which is why partly why I just threw this album at you, because I was like, they've probably not listened to something like this before, maybe.
It's definitely unique. Like the use of like the electric kind of sounds like along with the kind of like high-powered heavy metal sort of sound. It's been quite like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been like I guess because of the like, in some parts it does sound a little bit industrial, just because that's kind of almost what industrial sounds like, but instead of just being like it's kind of like there's obviously a lot of like high soaring guitars and stuff instead. But yeah, it's definitely unique for sure.
Yeah.
I think they were my favorite parts of the album as well. Like the favorite like little moments were the experimental. I'm going to keep using the word electric bits.
Yeah.
The bits that you're on about that kind of stood out as being a bit inventive. Yeah, I already compared them to Reckless Love. That was what I got from them. They're similar in that way.
I agree. There's one corner I said is just sometimes I feel like there should have been breakdowns instead of solos, just to really take home this like industrial element of the album. I don't think a guitar solo really suited most of these songs. Like obviously in Running Free, it's fine, but in Maniac Bull, I think was an example. It should have been a breakdown.
Yeah.
Good observation.
When you it's kind of a bit jarring when sort of kind of already in like a bit of like a lowish kind of end, then you suddenly go to like a high-ish kind of like guitar solo. It kind of almost takes you out of the song rather than imagine if it just goes like into like a dirty breakdown or something. It would be even better. Yeah, I agree with that.
Maniac Bull starts off with quite a slow bit, doesn't it? Like it takes a little while to build up. I enjoyed the kind of low tone, slower pace elements of that song. I didn't think the guitar solo was so out of place because it made a contrast, but I can see what you're saying. Like it probably would have worked a lot better with just a fucking dirty breakdown.
Yeah.
It's a good musical ear, Zach.
Well, I was just thinking, I was just like, I try, even though I love this album and it's very nostalgic to me because I've been listening to it for about 6 years. I do try and like throw in some cons. Mate, I am old. I'm 6. Yeah, I try and throw in some cons in there, just like what would I change about this album? But other than that, I love it personally, and it's nostalgic because it reminds me of uni. And I'm very nostalgic to uni right now.
Sure,
Because of you, it also reminds me of uni.
To be fair, I don't think there's a band on the planet that doesn't listen to their own albums back. Like, we could have done this instead. Like, you know, so I'm sure there's other people, even like fans of an album could be like, I'm not sure about this bit, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like the people that are fans of music should be some of the most critical anyway, because if you love something, and if you see something you don't like about it, then you've got more of an opinion to want it to be a bit better, rather than people that if they didn't care about it, they'd be like, that was shit, and then they go on to something else.
Yeah, having standards is a compliment, isn't it, to the thing that you're having standards
You're
for,
expecting a certain level of like proficiency from them. Like you're like, oh, this is not as good as I expected, like as I'm used to from them, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes because it is subjective, but like, yeah, I think we all understand. You pick things apart lovingly, like, yeah.
It's I mean, subjective is all of our middle names here.
Exactly.
Couldn't have picked
Of course.
4 different guys. Do we have final points before we go into ratings?
I think I've said everything really.
All right. Okay. Well, personally, I think this album is awesome, and I've said like why throughout this review. Favorite songs: Running Free, Maniac Bull, and VIP in Hell. I just love that down, 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 down. It's really good to work out to. Would recommend. Keeps your pace going. I gave it a 7 out of 10 though, just because. Like, it's not a perfect album. I think their other albums are better. I just recommended it because it was something very different. I The closest one I could think of is Korn's dubstep album, but even that's like so different. And Korn was mentioned earlier, so
It's a
who
good album
knows?
as well. It's a
It
very
is a good
flawed
album.
but good album.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that album.
So what you're
yeah,
saying is,
7 out of
if
10.
Skrillex was on this album, it would have been much better.
Maybe,
Skrillex
maybe.
featured.
Yeah.
Skrillex is the secret sauce.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ben.
I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. Thought it was pretty decent. I liked the more like classical, heavy metal sort of side of it, which were kind of like the ballady songs. Like my favorites were Firefly, Running Free, and The Final Dance, and obviously DNA, because even if I didn't like that song, it's stuck in my head forever.
It's there forever.
It's there forever, so
DNA.
better like it. DNA. I think it was pretty solid. It could have. I think it could have been better in a few areas where some of the songs, even though they had that kind of like electronic-y like uniqueness, I think a lot of them sounded pretty similar. Like a lot of the faster ones, which is why I really appreciated a lot of the slower ones, which were set aside from the rest of the album. So, solid 6 out of 10 from me.
That's one of the criticisms we've given a lot of these albums, is it doesn't go up and down enough. So
Maybe
that's
we
probably
need to
why
bear
you
that in
appreciate
mind.
them. Yeah.
Maybe that's an us thing, and that's what albums are really meant to be like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Take you on a journey.
Roller
Kyle.
coaster.
So I've pretty much already said all I have to say about this album. Like, yeah, it's not really my cup of tea in the first place. You know, I struggle with cheese that's not super tongue in cheek. Like I like Steel Panther because from the get go, you know, it's a joke, like sort of thing. Whereas I
Yeah.
feel like bands like this there's still that like element of like trying to take themselves a bit seriously and appear as cool and stuff, and I just don't feel it, to be honest. And
Steel Panther
Yeah.
are like through the looking glass of cheese to the point where
yeah,
you don't
exactly,
care anymore.
exactly. They're like
Yeah.
they're like the backside of the mirror, you know.
They're also
Um,
like
Yeah.
30 years older than them. So
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's yeah, and the mix, like genuinely, I was getting a bit annoyed by the end of the album by how bad it was. So I feel like if it was had a good mix, would have been like a 5 out of 10. Subjective, by the way, it's all subjective. But
Cool.
because of the mix, I honestly like, and I feel bad doing this. It's a 3 out of 10 for me. I really didn't enjoy this album.
That's
I see.
fine. Me and you are going to be clashing horns a lot in this podcast, so we're very much polar opposites when it comes to our music.
Not
Well, I'm happy
necessarily.
because
I mean, there's plenty of
Apart from
overlap.
some,
But then,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy because the only albums that have got 3 out of 10 so far were mine, so now you're in it as well. So.
Wait.
Hey!
Let's go.
I think I gave your last album a 3 out of 10 as well, Craig.
Yeah, you
just a
did.
I'm just a
Can't wait for the second half of this episode. Let's see what happens. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've said pretty much what I think. Like I said, I looked at it as a kind of junk food album. I enjoyed pretty much all of it. The musicianship was competent throughout. I'm probably gonna revise this to a 1 out of 10 when I understand the mix problem. But for me, favorite songs, obviously DNA. That was highlight of the album. I really liked VIP in Hell. And I thought Legion of the Legendary was not only the cheesiest song on the album, but also I thought it was really cool. And I'm giving
love
it
that
a
one too.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, same as me. And I'm the one fueled by nostalgia, so hell yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's a good endorsement.
Yeah. I think everything. I think maybe Kyle's mixing criticism could be due to taste over instruments over vocals, but I'm gonna have a listen.
I don't know. I'm an
later.
instrument guy, and I'm an instrument guy, and I didn't notice. But I'm also very unobservant. So.
Well, I'm gonna have a listen to it later and be like, "Is he correct?"
Yeah, I
Listen
mean,
to it on half speed.
in my notes, like the song I noticed it on was VIP in Hell, because There's in the chorus, there's like a high pitched lead guitar riff, but it's real quiet. Like, and I feel like it should have been way louder, and it would have been quite cool. And then
Yeah.
also after the chorus in the transition, there's a harmonized riff with like dueling guitars, but you can only really hear one of the guitars. Like you have to proper listen out for the other one.
Pardon
Yeah,
me.
but besides VRP and Hell, the other one I noticed most was Deadly because yeah, it's got a lot of solo sort of arpeggio stuff in the background, which when I listened and heard it was really quite cool. But it's like I feel like unless you were sitting there like I was and doing nothing but listening to the music, you might have gone unnoticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
do a
yeah.
lot of my music listening when I'm doing other things, and I'm sure same with you guys.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
normally I do. I've been making an effort with this podcast to actually sit down and really pay attention, but to be honest, I got that fucking millennial attention span. I'm immediately doing something else within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I do it during work, so like I have to because I'm just working all the time. So I might as well kill the time during it, and I'm just like
Why not?
makes it better.
Right.
Let's
Go on,
fucking go.
Greg. Lay us into the wiki
Oh,
page.
right. So, this is a synthwave band, a synthwave album, a genre I had never experienced until I was introduced to this band by an ex-girlfriend, and she told me about their song Tech Noir, which is not on this album, but is a really good song. So, synthwave, so they use a lot of synth. They also have an actual band with a drummer, saxophonist, who I'm not sure if he's a guest or a main member of the band. He turns up in a few songs. They got keyboard, they got guest vocals, and I like it. I think because of its aesthetic, it's really a big nostalgic sort of love letter to a certain time. Namely, I'm going to say 80s and thereabouts, and I don't know if you guys watch the music videos. It's a lot to do with films from that era, kind of imagery from that era, and for me, it conjures up an image of a kind of 80s world that they're trying to portray, kind of sci-fi-ish. I was trying to think of what it most embodied for me, and have you guys ever seen a film called Turbo Kid?
No,
No.
I can imagine.
Fantastic film. Zach, at this point in the podcast, can you just put up the poster for Turbo Kid, and you'll see
Yeah.
exactly what I mean. And things, maybe anime like fucking Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star
Oh,
and
definitely Cowboy Bebop.
Trigun and space fucking cowboys and shit. And yeah, I think they're really cool. This is their second album. Both albums pretty good. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I was gonna make similar comparisons. Like, to me, it was very like a Blade Runner-y, very sort of cyberpunk-y in a way. Very Vice City.
Yeah, you'll definitely see this as like a soundtrack on the Steam. No, that new game, Steampunk. No, Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk.
76.
Cyberpunk 2077.
That's it.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
That's it, yeah.
It's very cruising around in a dystopian sunset with neon signs everywhere and a convertible.
Blood
and
Dragon.
stuff like- Yeah,
Keanu
yeah,
Reeves.
yeah,
Very different from Busted, I think we'll agree.
yeah. They've come a long way.
Apparently, yeah.
Wasn't Busted mentioned last episode?
Yeah, it's
That's because it's the same guys.
Well, no, it's not. It's
Ah.
the guys. The lead singer from Busted joined Fight Star, and then the guitarist
Oh,
and bassist from Fight Star, who were different people, made this. I think.
Okay.
I knew it was two guys from Fight Star. I thought you'd said
Yeah,
last
they're
week.
not
It was
all
the
the
same guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
So they went to
it's
the
at
year
least one guy
3000.
from Busted.
They did it. They really did it.
God damn it.
Not much has changed, but they live underwater. That's why
Oh.
it sounds kind of aqueous at times. Boop, 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 boop.
Damn it.
And your great granddaughter is dead.
Probably.
Owned by a mega corporation.
Signed by
You're the
Apple.
slave to the corporations.
Yeah, I feel like they were very much playing up that aesthetic as well, because I think they were kind of like, the lyrics gave me that sort of vibe as well. It really felt kind of like world run by corporations and out people living like normal lives are kind of like outlaws in the world stuff. I thought it was minty fresh in a lot of ways, especially because the vocals are quite like dreamy and in a way like they're kind of like emo-y vocals in some places, but like it worked. But and then also like they'd kind of flip between like Woken Furies, the first track, had quite a few really soft melodic, like kind of like driving along the beach in the sun sort of like beats, but then it would go like really dark and like dystopian futury, like I've said. So
they're
I feel
driving
like-
along Bournemouth.
yeah, exactly.
I love
that's
your
lovely.
analogy of mint though. Mint does it's mint. I get it, Kyle. I don't know why. I can't put it into the words, but this
I
album
actually
is
don't
like
get it.
eating
Could
a
you
mint.
explain in much greater detail?
Oh dear, today.
You just started shouting mint.
Mint!
Mint, guys.
It
Mint.
is well mint in it.
Are you trying to say it's fresh?
Fresh.
Yeah, it was kind of like I don't know. It's like kind of, I don't know why I describe it as like minty fresh. It's very clean synthesizers. It's very kind of
produced. Like,
yeah, it's well produced, and it kind of conjures up images like the softer, more lighter toned parts conjure up images of like the Miami beach during the sunset with a bunch of like people playing volleyball and shit in the 80s or something, you know?
You mentioned neon earlier. I think that's a really good word.
Yeah,
to describe
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Another like 80s thing that it reminded me of is Tron. Drone Racing League. Have you guys seen Tron Legacy, the sequel?
Yeah, with the Daft Punk soundtrack.
Yeah,
That fucking film has an amazing soundtrack.
it does.
Yeah.
Drone Racing League sounds like that soundtrack. It's like it's sick.
And now that you mention
Well,
it, drone
to go back
racing,
to an earlier point, I actually...
like hype cycles as well.
Yeah.
So I was just going to mention,
probably what it
because I
was
mentioned
referring.
Turbo Kid earlier, I looked up whether or not they actually made the soundtrack for that, and I ended up listening to the Turbo Kid soundtrack, and that's also really good. You should listen to that.
Okay. Gonna
Almost
throw in
in
two
parts, like-
recommendations. You're gonna have to throw these in the comments section, Greg.
I might be the winner.
It almost kind of sounds like a few parts here and there kind of almost sound like vaporwave in a way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like similar to that sort of vape niche.
I feel like
I think-
Vaporwave is also going for that like 80s aesthetic, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've seen that famous album cover with the fucking Microsoft logo and everything. on it.
Floral shop.
Yeah.
I was thinking about suggesting for this podcast, but then I was like, nah. Other than the 420 song, the do 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 do. It's not that
Oh no.
great. That's a
That's a
Sorry.
banger though.
good song.
But nothing else, no other Vaporwave has ever been good. Apart from Simpson, I think
Yeah.
Simpson Wave used that riff, but yeah, listen to Simpson Wave, that was quite good. think it's the
Simpson
same thing, maybe.
Wave.
Yeah, it's like a YouTube video, it uses Vaporwave beats and it's videos of The Simpsons. It's very, very
Oh,
druggy.
okay. I thought you meant that was a genre.
No, it's just one song, unfortunately.
That's
Oakley
pathetic.
Dokley fucking mix. Imagine these guys did a collab with Oakley Dokley.
The Simpson Wave.
What a combo.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So I had a few things to say. I have a few things to really grind about this album. I'm just
Lay it
joking.
on us.
It was, I really enjoyed it because it kind of harks back to, only was it quite like synthy and it sounded fresh because all the production was really new. It sounded really good together. it also kind of was quite reminiscent and nostalgic of a lot of electronica in the 80s, which is what I appreciated about it. There was, I think, the biggest major criticism I had about the album was, and it was quite funny listening to these two albums that were recommended back to back, where I felt
Yeah,
that
very
Kissin
different.
Dynamite had too much of something. This album of Gunship, I felt like it didn't have enough. I felt like it was a little bit like lackluster in the synth that it could be, because a lot of it sort of felt like I wrote down it kind of meandered a little bit around the middle of the album, and the synthwave all started to sound really really samey for me. Where like I can't tell you apart from a lot of the really distinguishable singles, which I'll get to later on when we talk about it. I can't name you a song off the album just because it all sounded really really similar to me. And I felt like,
Well, yeah.
The way I would interpret that problem. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's a problem with synthwave in general, in that it's got a very specific sound, and because of that, it kind of pushes itself into a corner where it's like it's really difficult to make a song that kind of fits the aesthetic and the vibe of synthwave that doesn't sound like all other synthwave, you know?
love that synthwave.
Like,
Yeah.
It's quite a restricted area to work with.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a fault of the genre more so than the album.
You know, it definitely can be done. I mean, like if you listen, for example, to M83,
Oh yeah.
the album that has like Midnight City on it. I mean, you know, they have those kind of like a lot of the similar, not it's not quite synthwave. It's got that electronica kind of feel where it's got like, you know, backing electronica and instruments and vocals, but then it'll just hit you right at the end with like a saxophone solo or something like crazy, and it just really really sets it apart. Whilst a lot of this, it was just kind of a bit like dragging on, and the fact that it was like again completely different from the Kissin Dynamite album where that was only like 39 minutes. This was like an hour and like 5 or 6 minutes.
This
I was-
album,
Yeah,
Well, I was going to say a minute
it
ago,
was
actually,
long.
I think this album could literally be fixed if you took 1 to 2 minutes off every single song.
I
think that would-
oh my God,
100%
yes.
agree.
That would actually make it
100%.
so much more enjoyable. And I was thinking that when I
Yeah.
re-listened to it again. It's like, for fuck's sake, every single song needs to be 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
It would immediately be like 2 points higher in my estimation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
100%
Yeah,
agree.
no, that's yeah, I agree completely. Yeah,
not only that, but there's how many fucking tracks are there on this album? Like
There's a couple.
At least 4.
13 tracks on this album.
Yeah.
Like, and most of the tracks are over 5 minutes. Like that's a fucking long album by like anyone's standards. Like, and especially for a genre which we've all just agreed is quite samey in and of itself, you know.
I think
Also-
I'm wondering if it's intended for you to like smoke a few joints, have a couple lines of ketamine, and then spend a good
and then
6 hours listening to it
yeah.
on repeat. If that's the intention, or if that's just like, I don't know how I see it, but
Well, in a
Yeah,
similar
it could
vein
definitely
to
do with
that-
being a whole lot shorter.
Yeah. In a similar vein to doing ketamine, it could also be great lo-fi beats to do homework to. So I think
Yeah.
that's what it reminded me of.
Main time I
Like those like YouTube videos where
Yeah.
it's just like, it had that vibe a lot.
I personally didn't really like it. There were parts that I loved. That saxophone solo during reminds Dark All Day.
Yeah.
Cool
That
day,
saxophone
yeah.
I think
solo
Dark-
is awesome.
Very very cool. Yeah.
Did you watch the music video?
No, that's
Music
why
video was
I gave a face.
unreal.
Saxophone guy, it was amazing.
Oh,
Dude.
It was unreal. The penis gun was just the best fucking highlight.
don't miss out on a penis gun. Fuck.
That's
Yeah.
from a movie, though. That's a reference. I can't remember what fucking film it's from, but I've seen that exact penis gun in a movie. It's a thing. Like,
Damn.
That's a movie
Austin
reference. I can't remember
Powers or
what it is.
something?
Did you notice they had
Maybe.
fucking Ryu from Street Fighter on the drums in the video as well? I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's
Damn, they're
it's
driving
very
home the
obviously like
80s.
an homage to 80s. Yeah, yeah. Apparently
Yeah.
the song also,
90s
like
as well.
the content of Dark All Day, I looked it up, and apparently it's the lyrics about the movie The Lost Boys. So
Oh, it's one of my mum's
Yeah,
favourites.
I also realized while listening again, when you grow up, your heart dies is a line from The Breakfast Club. That's what that song's about.
Oh,
It's the whole thing is kind of just like a big
it's an
nostalgic
homage.
love
Mm.
homage. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so we kind of interrupted you, Zach.
Oh, I was just going to go through a couple of my favourite songs. From When You Grow Up, You Die. Is that the one with all the quotes in it?
Yeah,
All
the second half of that song,
inspirational quotes. Yeah,
it's
I was
very
sitting
cheesy.
there.
Yeah.
I've been editing Pokemon videos for like 4.5 years now, and I was sitting there yesterday, just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna go mad. I need to stop, else I'm gonna hate Pokemon like I kind of hate League of Legends. Fuck, I don't want to hate Pokemon. Then that song came on. I was like, "No, Zach, you can do it. Go on, keep up the grind."
It's not a bad day, just a bad no. It's just a bad day, not a bad life.
Yeah.
Zach, when you grow out of Pokemon, your heart will die, bro. Like you can't do that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it growing
you'll
out.
explode like that, like Kill Bill.
I'm already getting sick of it. The DLC comes out tomorrow, and I do not give a shit. So I'm a bit like, right, I don't want the same thing to happen to League of Legends with Pokemon. Anyway, off topic. Yeah, that song really helped me through yesterday. The Kat Von D, I didn't know she could sing or whatever she did on the album. Song.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
whatever
a
she tried to do.
burlesque dancer, right?
No, she's a tattoo artist. She was on a LA Ink.
Oh, who am I thinking of?
Yeah, Kat Von D. I thought she
the-
was going to
the
come on
Von
the
D-
song and go like,
I'm
I'm
halfway
thinking of
through the
Dick
song.
Von Teese.
Yeah, I
With a
looked up,
tattoo gun.
like, since fucking when does Kat Von D do music? And apparently she has an album coming out this year. It's her first album.
No shit.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that was one of my least favorite tracks on the album, Black Blood Red Kiss.
I didn't even notice that she sang on it, to be honest. I listened to it again
Yeah.
after noticing she sang on it. I still didn't hear.
I only saw it because it says featuring on the song. At least on Apple Music it does.
Yeah, she's not really playing a major role in that track, to be fair.
Yeah.
Major role.
But I think the main reason why I didn't like this album, and it's literally timing. I should have been at Download this weekend. We all should have. And all I wanted to do was listen to metal. And so if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't finish this album. It was too long. And I feel
That's
really
fair.
bad about it, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I was just like, I can't just... I feel like the first, 2/3 of the album would have been the same as for the last third, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Did I miss
Pretty much. I feel like the first half is the best half anyway. But
I feel really bad
missed-
because it shouldn't be. That shouldn't be the case, and I won't do it often. But in this one instance, I was just like, I should be at Download. It's lockdown. Fuck. And then I'm
Dude, if
sitting
you
here
don't
listening to
wanna-
synthwave.
Dude, I didn't finish listening to the Molly Tuttle album, and I think not finishing listening to it is a very valid thing to have. Like, if we're not going to force ourselves to listen to it, especially when this album. Yes, I liked this album, and I found it to be a slog by the end. It's far too long. It's stupid long.
Yeah,
Like,
which
I'm
I
not
agree.
gonna lie,
Great.
I feel as if we should. I feel as if we should force ourselves to listen to them, but it's fair enough if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, if you have a good reason to.
If you were going to go back and listen to later songs, watch the music video for Art and Mise en Parzival, and I liked Honor Among Thieves as well. Those are the only later cuts that I think are worth checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely watch the music video. I want to see a penis gun.
No, that was for Dark All Day, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Art and Mise en
Good days, the one with.
is about Ready Player One, which is also a big old thing full of references to the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's about the book, which I fucking loved. If you're a nerdy guy like me, you should definitely read Ready Player One. It's sick.
Yeah.
I've gone really into
I thought
audio
they-
books, so I'll probably listen to it there.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
There was also fairly interesting. I think it was for When You Grow Up, Your Heart Dies. There was a fan clips official video that they had put together from clips that other people had sent in of them imitating 80s movies, and it was just very, very wholesome. I'd recommend watching it.
Oh,
Sounds
I
Aww.
think it was When You
so
Grow Up, Your Heart
cute.
Dies. Yeah.
Ah,
I had a few extra notes. They weren't that flattering, which is annoying because I always write down like stuff that I don't like because I think it comes to the mind more. Then I end up giving it a good rating anyway because I do like it.
got a
But
little
one of the
something
things
for everyone.
one of the things that really got me when I was saying that there wasn't like enough, I felt like synth didn't set itself apart from a lot of other synth more than it should have. And the guy's voice was was a bit lackluster. I felt for this kind of genre of music. I feel like it lends itself to have like a high soaring crescendo like voice kind of thing. The fact that his voice kind of sat more there, just a bit irksome to me. Like for example, one
Hmm.
of their best songs was Artemis and Parzival. Parzival?
Yeah.
Am I
Percival?
saying it right?
Oh,
And that's the one that's the reference to Ready Player One, and that song fucking slaps. It is so good. But again, when the guy's voice comes in the chorus, I feel like there's points where he just doesn't give it enough. I'm like he should have done like a high bit there, and it would have sounded like like epic. They just kind of like it's a bit flat. I'm just like
yeah.
like it's really frustrating. Like and I'm not saying like oh, I'm the singer, so I know or anything like that. Like it's just frustrating when like this like a song could be a banger if the singer just took it that bit further.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah, for sure.
um
Well, I got the same with
and I
Fontaine's
felt
DC. I
Yeah, I was
felt
gonna
like he
yeah
say.
needed. Yo. So.
I feel like well the only reason I felt it with this more than that is because synthwave it's better with people that have like that go in hard and go in heavier and like with their vocal range rather than kind of like falling back.
Yeah.
And it was yeah it wasn't
Ah,
it
fair enough.
mm,
Seems to me,
I feel
Ben,
like
that your criticism is Kissin Dynamite and Gunship need to have a baby, and it will make
the ultimate.
perfect
Yeah.
album.
oh my god heavy metal synth.
It must have been done. Someone's probably done
Oh,
it.
sure. I'm sure we'll
That
find it.
fucking Korn and
Heavy synth
Skrillex
metal.
album. That was the ultimate album.
I was gonna say one thing that the album that I feel like goes for this vibe, but does it like way better is Nero Welcome Reality. Like that kind of it's got sort
Yeah
of vibe,
Really?
but
You reckon that's the same vibe?
yeah, dude, it's very 80s. It's very like smooth. It's got
yeah for sure.
it goes to that dark sort of dystopian vibe at
I
times.
feel like Welcome
But also another
Reality.
thing is, sorry, I was just gonna just a little bit more. Is
Oh yeah.
the track "Dark All Day"? They've got female vocals. I feel like this sort of music, female vocals, just suits it so much better.
So much better.
Well, like
Yeah,
Crush
for
on You
real.
and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I feel like it's a different vibe they're going for. I feel like there's a certain calmness. There's a like that drifting through space kind of feel that we were talking about that I wouldn't have got from Welcome Reality. That's a lot more like.
Well, I don't know. Welcome Reality,
Drum and bass.
like for example, if you listen to like it is more drum and bass slash like dubstep. It touches a lot on like what Carl was saying with like the kind of 80s feel. Like if you listen to like Reaching Out, for example,
Yeah,
I think that's on that
Hall and
same.
Oates song, isn't it? So,
Yeah. Um, like that really kind of has that sort of aesthetic, and I think again because the vocals go like hard on it, it like really sounds like a lot more like and sends you back into the 80s, like other than kind of tickles you with the nostalgia, it pushes you back.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
and one last thing before I finish, I've probably said a lot about this album.
Damn it, go for
Uh,
it.
Nah, throw it on. We need the
yeah.
positive and the negative. Like,
Oh,
tear
yeah.
it apart.
I did really like it because I'm a sucker for synth and stuff. That fucking cover of Time After Time was awful.
Oh yeah.
That was so
Why was that
good.
in there?
Awful.
I don't know
It
why that was in there.
awful. Like genuinely, like when I was angry when I listened to it because genuinely so angry because that song is like an 80s banger and and his voice was just so lackluster
They made
and
it boring. They did.
made it so boring. Like
Yeah.
was
No, I'm not
it
going to
was
defend that
honestly
cover.
terrible. The rest, they should have taken out that cover, shortened a lot of the songs, and he should have gone a bit harder on the vocals, and then would have been chef kiss good.
I think they should have had more guest vocals. I think the girl from Dark All Day should have been on the whole album. I think that would have improved it a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she was amazing, and the girl from Artemis and Parzival as well.
Parzival,
the
yeah.
Stella LePage, I think her name was, or Ajay. Because all the female, like Kyle said, female vocalists just really suit electronica, synthwave, like all that kind of electronic-y kind of music really well.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, fuck yeah. There, Ben, you write down what you're thinking, even if it's all negative or all good.
Yeah.
I personally find it easier to say good things than bad. I'm just saying, Rise the Midnight Girl. I just wrote boring. I couldn't tell you why. Which is I'm so bad at writing notes.
Yeah.
This album, a little bit like we were saying, the last album is a bit sort of not that much variation. This album was like up down for me because I thought it started off really strong. Some of my favorite tracks were Woken Furies, Dark All Day, Drone Racing League, and then Rise of Midnight Girl is fucking dull, and then it goes right back up for Thrasher. I thought Thrasher was really cool. Didn't like Black Blood, Red Kiss, and then it kind of takes it off at the end. Like
Often
Exactly. My favorited were Woken Furies, Dark All Day, Drone Racing League, Honor Among Thieves, Artemis and Parzival. So that's literally exactly the same as you, except for I didn't like Thrash very much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg, did you say it just went like up and then down at the end? Because I lagged there. It was my turn.
Oh, yeah. For me, it was like up, down, and then, kind of drew.
My turn to lag.
God damn it. I was just saying, Greg's lagging again. Right, boys? Right?
Oh, dear.
God damn.
Times have changed.
Should we do ratings?
Yeah.
Run a bit long anyway, aren't
Greg.
Shall I go first? All right. So I'll do favorite track for me. Favorite tracks. I basically just said it, but Dark All Day. Dark All Day was the best track on the album, and I'm giving it a 7.5.
Ooh.
0.5.
Yeah.
Ooh.
For me, my favourite tracks were... I did really like Dark All Day, but my favourite track's probably Drone Racing League, and I think it's because it embraces that more like dark vibe to it. For an album that had so many hit or miss moments, like at the end of the day, I only actually really liked 5 songs of the like 13 on here. I still give it a 7 because I really liked the aesthetic. I thought it was very evocative, and I had a lot of scenery images in my head of like what sort of thing they were going for. And the songs that I did like, I thought were really fucking cool. And I don't really listen to much synthwave, so this was quite a new experience for me as well.
Okay. Ben, shall I go or you?
You go, and then I'll finish off.
See, because I didn't finish it, I don't feel right giving it a rating. So, but I mean, if I was going to give it a rating, what I listened to, I'd give it a 4. just because it started out strong. That first Dark All Day just reminded me of Tron, reminded me of Daft Punk. It was like apocalyptic sci-fi films, and the sax solo like reminded me of Miasma by we're bringing up the word Miasma again. By Ghost have an instrumental song called Miasma, which has an epic saxophone solo, and it just solidified the fact that I love saxophone. Apparently,
Dude, if you don't love saxophone, what's actually wrong with you?
Exactly.
Oh, bro!
Yeah.
I literally have a playlist on Spotify that just has like saxophone solos in it, just because it's so good.
It's
Yeah.
the best thing ever. You can't not love saxophone solos.
I don't know
If you
why.
don't, you're wrong.
So good.
I think it's also because they're so few and far between that when they do pop
Yeah,
up, you're
yeah.
like, oh, shit.
It can't not be emotive as well. It's like there's no saxophone shred, like a really unemotional guitar solo where it's just technical. That doesn't really ever happen on a good saxophone
No, when you
solo.
hear
It's
when
always
you hear
emotional.
a saxophone solo, it's always like like it's a lot of other instruments kind of like go through you like a wave, but for some reason saxophone for me just like reaches into your heart and pulls it out. Like that's the kind of feeling that I feel whenever I hear a really good solo. Like every time I hear Baker Street, like that, I'm just like, oh, so good.
So, boys, we're getting Ollie on to do a sax solo on one of our songs, then, right?
Oh, Ollie plays
Oh my
saxophone?
god,
Yes.
Shit, I didn't know that. Oh, hell yeah.
That'd be
it
amazing.
would be.
Definitely.
It'll probably be like
Damn.
our biggest hit.
Let's
as
go.
well.
So
Yeah.
I give it a 4 out of 5. I just
4 out of 5.
4 out of
What
5.
was
That's
it
8 out of
for me?
10.
wait. 4 out of
It's
10.
No, you can't take it back now. It's 8 out of 10.
It's my favorite album. I love it. Love it. I
Better than
don't get
Kissin
bored.
Dynamite.
Yeah, no, I agree with Greg though that if these songs were just 2 minutes shorter, I probably would
That would
have
have
like
fixed the
really
whole
liked
album.
it. If the
Yeah.
album was like, I could like,
missed the
drive
trick
home
there.
that point more. Ben.
I think to round it off thematically, we've hit a lot of points. We mentioned earlier about loving something so much that you feel like you're even more entitled to criticize it, and I feel like that's why I've been particularly harsh with the album, beside others, because I love this kind of music and I love this genre. And, like, I love what they were going for and the direction that like the album was going in. Thematically, it was great. I love what they were like actually writing about and like all the themes around the album. But just didn't do enough for me, and that was the most frustrating part because it could have been like amazing. So obviously some of the best songs for me were Dark All Day, Woken Fury. Same with you guys. I really liked Thrasher, Honor Among Thieves, and then my favorite by far was Artemis and Parzival. Because the chorus, even though it slightly fell down, it still kind of feels a bit epic, and I added that straight onto my likes on playlist, my main playlist on Spotify.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Dark All Days
uh,
on my bangers too. Like,
whilst like yeah, exactly. So whilst it's kind of like what am I trying to say? I've completely lost what I was gonna say. It's good. Like I like synth. It just didn't do enough. It could have been shorter. Those vocals could have been a bit punchier, and I really can't stress enough how much I hated that cover. Oh my god, that's one of the worst covers I've ever heard in my life.
nice.
The
That
album
probably
probably
takes
would
a
have been
solid
at least-
point off the album in general.
I think that took about 2 points off for me just because that song was so bad. No, I'm joking.
I've never seen
I'm gonna
you
give it.
so emotive over a song before.
I'm still giving it. I'm actually still giving it a 6 out of 10 anyway because for what it was worth, it still set out to do what it did, and I still enjoyed it, and it still was quite evocative, like Kyle said, of that 80s kind of nostalgia. it would have been easily an 8 or a 9 for me if it just did more, and it could have done more, and that's the most frustrating part about it for me.
I
Yeah,
don't know. Keep an eye out.
I'd
for
say
their
listen
future
to their
projects.
first album, but their first album has basically the same issues.
See, I feel
Yeah.
like if they released another album or something, just really go harder, just go a bit harder in the synth. Fucking add R2-T2's voice in it or something.
That'd be same era too. So.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. I think
Right.
that's like some great constructive criticism there. Like, bravo.
Jolly good
Yeah.
show.
9 out of 10 criticism. And I'm gonna.
No, we should criticize everyone's criticism.
We'll do one of those like reacting to the reaction video reactors thing of us just reviewing our own episode.
Yeah.
Comment of the week. Finally got us some fucking feedback, boys. Because we
Yay.
mainly wrote to Tim. Go on, Tim.
From tuberculosis himself.
TB. Right, so he said, Kissin Dynamite's Megalomania surprised me. They had some electrical elements to it that fitted the aggressive rock tempo, especially DNA. This experimentation is noticeable in other songs as they blend styles into what would otherwise have been a pretty standard rock or metal album. I think we can all agree with both of those
That's
points.
pretty much what I said as well.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Yeah.
Yep,
my
definitely agree with
main criticism would be the singer's voice seems to have a slightly weird twang to it. It could be an accent thing, and it's only a little off-putting. He does sound very German, very European.
He is very
it
German.
was for sure.
Yeah.
He did have a twang because of the German accent. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Megalomania is definitely earworm material even after one playthrough. Particular standouts were Legion of the Legendary and VIP in Hell. Decent album, 6 out of 10. So
Oh, we need to get Tim on this podcast. He's pretty good at reviewing albums.
I was actually thinking we should have guest albums on here and bring our mates on to suggest an album and have them on for an episode.
Yeah.
It
That
could
makes
pretty
sense.
cool, actually.
spice it
He
up.
could be our
one at a time.
triangle player.
Yeah. Well, they don't all necessarily have to join the band, but just for the podcast.
They all have to join.
Get Ollie on
It's
here.
not
'cause
CHUB
he done a
Cast
sax
unless
solo.
they're in CHUB.
Tim could be the go-go.
Oh,
It ends up like a fucking orchestra.
But Tim actually did go the extra mile. He also reviewed Gunship. He said,
Fuck yeah.
Gunship was very much what I expected. Sounded reminiscent of the game Neon Chrome. I've never heard of that game before, but I'm
I have
assuming
heard of
it's
that
Got the
game.
word
I've seen
neon
it.
and
Yeah.
chrome, so.
Yeah,
So
that's-
you already know.
It looks very Blood Dragon. The aesthetic was there, but it's really more suited to being in the background, which we also said. The vocal work seems at times too laid back, and with the electronic soundscape overpowering it, you're sort of left waiting for something to happen. I think
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much exactly
yeah.
what Ben said, yeah.
Yeah.
there are
Nail on
some
the head.
songs with more energy that are quite good. Thrasher, Drone Racing League, and When You Grow Up, Your Heart Dies. Dark All Day in particular with the strong sax throughout is excellent. Few songs might make rotation occasionally, but the album as a whole probably won't. 4 out of 10. So,
Fair enough.
Mate, just
Did you
echoing
give
what we're
Kissin
saying.
Dynamite a score? I
Yeah.
didn't hear that.
Yeah, 6
4
out
out
of
of
10. Nah. Kissin
yeah,
Dynamite,
Kissin
6 out of
Dynamite
10.
still.
Gunship 4.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for the review, Tuberculosis. Cheers. You're a week.
TV.
your boy Timbo Slice. I kind of
I-
want to get him on, but I also don't because he'll recommend like a fucking Ghostman album or some shit.
Oh,
No, I'm blackballing Ghostman. We are not fucking having Ghostman on the podcast.
Oh my
I will give that a 0 out of 10.
God damn. TV,
Yeah,
Tim,
You cannot
thank you
force
so
me
much.
to listen to a whole album.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much
it.
for that comment. That you went all out for that. You can tell you actually listened to the albums, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Bro for life.
Number one fan.
Shall we move on to next albums of next week? Next.
Yeah, Kyle, Ben, what are we
Next,
listening
next.
to next week?
What the fuck am I doing?
First, Kyle.
So, I only managed to narrow it down to like 3 choices again, so you guys are going to have to pick based on the genre.
No,
Let's go.
no, just throw it at us.
Just throw one at you.
Yeah,
Okay, alright, fine.
this
Fine.
podcast is
What do
gonna
you
go
feel
on
in the mood for
indefinitely.
right now?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Alright.
need to be the perfect choice. It just needs to be the one you feel like at this moment.
Yeah, I've got about
Uh,
20
Oh, I
lined up.
don't know
like.
which one I want to pick.
Yeah, I've got loads lined up.
Alright, fucking fine, right? You know, I said I'm not really a big power metal fan.
Yeah.
Let's go.
One power metal band I really like, and that is Unleash the Archers. Fucking
Oh.
listen to Apex. Also, they've got their new album Abyss coming out like next week or something. So if you wanted to, you could listen to that as well.
Okay.
But at the
Yeah, I've
moment,
been meaning to get more into them for a while.
yeah, they're
So what
fucking
you're
sick.
saying is you're picking them so we can get some relevant clicks.
Oh yeah, dude, exactly.
Yeah.
And also
That's
when
why I
Abyss
wa-
comes out, review that.
Yeah.
You know.
I wanted
also
to
Abyss-
review Ailstorm just because of the last album.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
Curse of the Crystal Coconut. Sorry, I was going to say, Abyss, their new album, is a conceptual sequel to the story of Apex, which is a concept album.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a go. It's good. It's good.
Hell yeah, I know Claire likes them a lot.
Nice.
So
I like what I've heard of them so far. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really cool.
Ben.
I have a problem where I was the same as Carl. I kind of want to ask, but I should probably just
if you
throw
give
it out.
if you give me a choice, I'll gravitate towards what I like. So I want
Okay.
you to just throw it.
Right. Well, all of the ones that I've got offered are all really heavy, like shouty vocals. Just to preface it, anyway. I think one I want to suggest.
Just do it.
The one I want to suggest now is an album from 2014. It's quite an old one. Some absolute bangers. It's called
Just do that. That makes me
Groove
feel
Hammer.
so old.
Groove Hammer.
Oh,
Groove
that's
Hammer
name.
by the
Yeah.
Hell.
I like
Yeah,
it
I remember
already.
when I was at Savs, you guys were banging on about that album. Groove Hammer.
That's one hell of a name.
Groove Hammer by the Hell.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be very different to the band Hell, which is more like
It's-
Iron Maiden-y.
Oh yeah, no, these guys are definitely a lot different. Yeah, yeah. They. I won't spoil anything. I'll let you
Yeah.
listen to it and decide for
Alright.
yourselves next week.
Fuck yeah.
I am very excited. This is our second album with Hammer in the name.
Yeah, we've listened to Glory. Yeah, fuck.
Glory Hammer
Hammer.
and Groove Hammer now.
And
But very exciting
Those listening-
choices for next week.
oh fuck yeah, I can't wait. Those listening to the podcast at home, down in the comments section, I will pin the comment because it gets littered, it gets flooded down there. So I'll pin the comment of what we're going to listen to next week, and you don't have to listen to both. If you do, that's amazing. But one or the other, just write a little review, and we will talk about your comment next week. I have been Zach.
I've been Kyle.
Up and great.
I'm in bed.
Oh, it's so awkward. Fucking lag.
Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do
And
it?
if this
If this
video gave
podcast
you a
gave
chub,
you a chub, oh.
Like and subscribe.